After not picking up a single win in their first 7 league games and with the pressure mounting on Alan Pardew, the tide has begun to turn on the Tyne, with Newcastle unbeaten in 3 and having won their last 2 against Leicester and Tottenham. The Magpies arrived here at the Etihad Stadium with renewed confidence, but they're up against the Premier League champions and the League Cup holders.
Manchester City are on the trophy trail again. 2014 winners of the Capital One Cup.
And are Pellegrini's side going to continue on another cup trail tonight? It's an all-Premier League clash in the 4th round of the Capital One Cup. It's the holders Manchester City against Newcastle United for a place in the quarter-finals, the draw for which will take place later here this evening. So for the 2nd season in a row, Manchester City and Newcastle meet in the 4th round of the League Cup. Of course, City were triumphant a year ago. They'll be confident of repeating that because in the last 11 meetings against the Magpies, they've won all 11. Delighted to say alongside me tonight the former Man City striker Niall Quinn and Stuart Pearce, who of course played for both these sides, managed here at the Etihad, and now of course managing at the City ground. Gentlemen, first of all, let's look then at the team news that Manuel Pellegrini has announced in the last few minutes. Just 4 players survived from the weekend. They are Mangala, Toure, Silva and Dzeko. The big news on the bench is that after 7 games out, Samir Nasri returns to the squad tonight. Niall, how strong a team is that?
Still very strong, and if you look down at the bench in time, you'll see it's an amazing squad that they have here. But it's a squad who needs a victory, and they should get one. The form will tell you in this competition, and against Newcastle they do that. But an amazing array of players there, and ahead of such a big game this weekend, you know, I would expect the manager to be sending them out to play at a brisk pace. You're all great players, go and prove it. And
2 huge games on the way, Stuart, here at the Etihad. The small match of the Manchester Derby the weekend, then CSK Moscow in the Champions League to come. How important, therefore, without a win in the last couple of games, that they get a win tonight?
I think it's vital. I think, you know, if you look elsewhere as well, Tottenham have had a little rocky run and they play tonight at home, and it's important that they'll probably get a victory. But certainly tonight for Man City, it's incredible how the last result probably dominates the thinking in your team selection for the next game. And tonight's really important for City, I think, to go through in this competition.
Right, let's turn our attention to Newcastle United now. For Alan Pardew, he's looking to make it 4 games unbeaten, make it 3 wins in a row in all competitions. And ahead of kick-off, he's been speaking to David Craig.
Alan, from the outside looking in, Newcastle have rediscovered their mojo. How's that happened?
Well, it's really just the form that we've found with results. Sometimes in close games it's just small margins, but we got the margin right against Leicester. We got the win, and at Spurs, particularly in the second half, we kind of found ourselves, and going to try and take that into tonight's game. It's a difficult game for us tonight because the TV schedules doesn't help us in terms of an early kick-off on Saturday, and I've had to look at that a little bit. Hence the team is not quite as strong as I'd have liked.
With that newfound momentum you've mentioned, just how do you go about beating Manchester City?
Well, I think it's important tonight that we get to grips with them when they have the ball. I think that's when they're at their most dangerous. But they are vulnerable, and West Ham proved that on Saturday. And for us, I think it's important that we carry that threat tonight. We've put a lot of pace in the team, hopefully, where they overcommit, that we can exploit.
Huge night for Adam Armstrong, the 17-year-old starting up front tonight. Stuart, he mentions there the reasons why he's made those 6 changes tonight. Sure. Are you surprised, though, that he's made as many as he has, given the run they're on?
Yeah, sometimes it's a mixed bag, really. You want to gain momentum and keep the momentum going, but it's a perfect opportunity. And I think, if anything, the last couple of results have probably took the pressure off him and has enabled him to put 1 or 2 of these youngsters in. He might have the thought process as well. If we put our strongest side out, we could still get beaten at Manchester City, and that's counterproductive as well. So it plays tricks for your mind a little bit, you know, this competition in some ways.
I have turned a corner now, there's no doubt about that. What's been the key?
I think he's got a team spirit in there from somewhere. You know, they're scoring goals in the second half to show that, you know, that they're not, you know, sort of standing back and letting things happen and letting things affect them. They're really trying for their manager. I think he deserves great credit and great praise for the way he's conducted himself in what's been a very difficult period, bringing younger players in as well, bringing sort of more senior, older players too. The likes of Taylor came back in as well, and he's stood by his principles and his guns, and it's been difficult for all concerned. You know, there's off-field activity with the owner getting involved with Rangers. Newcastle fans are continuously scratching their heads. They've given him an awful lot of stick, but there's other positive things now in the last few weeks that make it a different dressing room, that make it, I suppose, a different scenario for Newcastle fans. You know, if I'm a Newcastle fan tonight, I'd love to see how Armstrong, a young lad, local Newcastle lad, how he's going to get on, how his career develops. There's some other stories at Newcastle besides the continuous Alan Pardew talk and I suppose the giving out of his tenure by Newcastle fans. I think there's more to Newcastle than that, and I think tonight gives them an opportunity to see a couple of other players. It's going to be very difficult for them. Stuart says it's really, you know, hard with such a big game for them coming on Saturday as well in the Premier League. But a spirited performance I'm expecting from Newcastle. I think, you know, Alan Pardew deserves a pat on the back for getting through a really rough period.
And of course, as we mentioned, they meet at this stage of the competition for the second season running. Last year, of course, it was at St James's Park. It was 0-0. Come the end of the 90 minutes, into extra time it went, and that is when City struck. First of all, through Alvaro Negredo, and then the second game, the sucker punch came from the man he celebrated with there, Edin Dzeko, making it 2-0. That sent City through to the quarter-finals and on to Wembley, where, of course, Pellegrini picked up his first ever trophy. And City's record in the competition, particularly in the last few years, has been a good one. Newcastle's record of the last 10 years, a tale of underachievement. They've been to the quarter-finals once, but have gone out of the competition 4 times in the third round, 5 in the fourth round. In fact, they've only progressed beyond the fourth round once in the last 12 seasons. More to come from Stuart and from Niall a little bit later, but up next, it is kick-off here at the Etihad as once again Manchester City and Newcastle United go head-to-head in the League Cup. We will hear from Pellegrini next. There are 3 Capital One Cup fourth round ties in all. We're here at the Etihad for City against Newcastle. Elsewhere, it's an all Premier League tie. Stoke take on Southampton. It's a delayed kick-off at White Hart Lane for Tottenham's game against Championship side Brighton. Traffic chaos around the ground means a delayed kick-off. And remember, once we're done here, could be extra time, there could be penalties, but either way, we will have the draw for the 5th round along with Niall and Stuart a little bit later on once we're done here at the Etihad. OK, kick-off fast approaching. Let's get the final thoughts of Manuel Pellegrini.
Manuel, after the setbacks in your last 2 games, what do you have to do to get it right tonight?
Well, first of all, the thing that we're in another competition. Maybe we didn't have the result that we want in the last 2 games, one in Premier League and the other in Champions League. Now we are playing Capital One here at home, where we have to play 3 games in a row. So just thinking about what we must do today to return to win here, and the only way to do it is to try to be again an attacking team and a solid team and trying to defend well.
Well, their recent record against Newcastle United, nothing short of impressive. Won 11 in a row, 29 goals scored, and only 5 conceded. Will that run continue tonight, or can Newcastle bring it upset here at the Etihad? Let's find out in the company of Andy Hinchcliffe, fan first Bill Leslie.
Well, City put 7 past Championship Sheffield Wednesday here in their only previous outing in the League Cup this season. They largely go with the side that started that one. 2 changes from it. Frank Lampard still not over his thigh injury. Jesus Navas is left on the bench. But still, Yaya Toure, David Silva, Eliakim Mangala and Edin Dzeko all start as they did in the Premier League on Saturday. 7 changes in total from the side that started and lost at Upton Park. Newcastle boosted after their recent upturn in form, but Alan Pardew does rotate after the win at Spurs on Sunday. 6 changes in total. A welcome return for Ryan Taylor, who starts for the first time since injuring knee ligaments in August 2012. Some teenage talent given a run out too. 17-year-old Adam Armstrong starting just his 2nd senior game, as does 18-year-old Rolando Aarons, who's fit after a hamstring injury. Strength and depth as you'd expect on both benches, particularly City, who have Sami and Nasri available for the first time in 8 matches after groin surgery. So Manchester City 6 points off the Premier League pace after that defeat at the weekend. They face an improving United here, but still, Andy, they give a run out here to some big guns tonight.
Absolutely. Silva's inclusion shows just how serious City are in getting the job done early tonight. Many managers would probably keep their big hitters on the bench in case things go wrong, but Pellegrini starts Silva tonight, and I hope that his quality will help put the game to bed in the first hour. And this competition tends to give managers the opportunity to give youngsters an opportunity, and young Englishmen Aarons and Armstrong get that opportunity against world-class opposition here tonight. Football's about character as much maybe as technique, and we'll see tonight just whether these two youngsters can cope with playing at the very highest level.
Well, the defence of one half of Manchester City's double took a hit at the weekend in East London. Tonight, a chilly Manchester at the Eastlands. The other half goes on the line as they continue their quest for back-to-back Capital One Cups. 3 times they've won this trophy. Newcastle finalists once in 1976 when they were beaten by Manchester City, and that Dennis Stewart overhead kick that has gone down in Wembley and City folklore. An all-Premier League affair, but still, one of these sides, Newcastle United, comes in as a rank outsider. You can get the same odds on a Newcastle win here as you could get last night on Shrewsbury beating Chelsea. Well, they nearly did it, so who knows? There's certainly a statement of intent on the Manchester City team sheet, there's no doubt about that. You suspect, Andy, that the message from the manager, get the job done, get it done early, then we can think about the weekend.
Absolutely, you got that Manchester derby, that big game against CSKA Moscow, but it's about tonight. Okay, it's a relatively inexperienced Newcastle side, top quality City side, even though they've had those changes, but it's about playing at high tempo. They've clearly got the best players out there. It's making that count. I think playing at high tempo is what the manager will ask for.
Here's Jovetic, looking to feed Dzeko. Newcastle United come here looking to do what they've never done before, and that is win here at the Etihad. They've never won here in any competitions. They haven't won in this part of Manchester for 14 years. Willie Caballero. No surprise to see him in goal for Manchester City, with Joe Hart rested to the bench. Mangala looking to get a confidence-building performance in tonight, no doubt, to give his manager something to think about ahead of the derby.
I think for Newcastle tonight it is about their mentality as much as anything else, because this City side with Toure, Fernandinho, Silva, they'll be very adept at keeping hold of the ball. I'm sure Alan Pardew has got that message to his players. We need to be disciplined. We need to really switch on.
One day shy of a full calendar year since these two met at this stage of this competition. Took extra time to separate them then before Manchester City hit the gas. Continued their road to Wembley. Success over another side from the northeast, Sunderland. They had a right good go. And since Alan Pardew has taken over at Newcastle United, and indeed before that, the Cups do seem to have taken second billing. Doesn't sit well with all the supporters, but they've never been beyond the 4th round since Alan Pardew's been in charge, 4 years now. As Sanya's ball into Silva, who controls it delightfully. He's bundled to the ground inside the D. Rusty from Ryan Taylor, perhaps.
Oh, it's a wonderful first touch from David Silva. Let's hope he's okay. Sanya does really well to pick him out, and that first touch just kills the ball stone dead. Clearly a foul. Maybe as he goes down, does he injure himself there, David Silva? This is the problem, playing a player who's important to City. In a game like this, you always run the risk of picking up an injury. Let's hope he's okay.
Calculated risk. Let's hope that it's not a gamble that backfires as far as the Manchester City manager is concerned. It's always a double-edged sword, isn't it? We all want to see strong sides in this competition, and certainly Manuel Pellegrini hasn't disappointed in that fact, but David Silva, who scored what ended up being a consolation at West Ham at the weekend, would be a major absentee, given not just Sunday in the derby, but also what is effectively a Champions League decider, must-win game against CSKA Moscow here this time next week.
I talked about Newcastle, certainly their midfield three of really switching on. And when you've got players like Silva who are looking always to get in behind you, get into the position that we saw Silva get in there, you really do have to be aware of his position. There's three of you in there you should be able to deal with David Silva. One has to say shoulder to shoulder with him. If he gets beyond you, goal side of you, you've got major problems.
And it might be a very early departure for the mercurial Spaniard. Off he goes. Whether he returns is another matter. There may, if he is unable to take to the field again, be an early return for Samir Nasri. More pressingly, this is very much Alexander Kolarov territory. Rob Elliott, the former Charlton goalkeeper, in goal for Newcastle United. It's Toure who takes and blazes over.
Oh, I think this is a real waste. This is a perfect position for Alexander Kolarov with that wicked left foot of his. I think if it's up and over the wall, you beat the goalkeeper, but the important thing is you've got to keep it on target, and I think Kolarov is better suited to that free kick than Toure.
So says the former left-footed fullback, Andy Hinchcliffe. Callback's header, and by Rolando Aarons. And he has pace and could be in here. Aarons up with Mangala! Aarons! Well, how about that? Rolando Aarons, 18-year-old, has given Newcastle an early lead at the Etihad.
Well, what a composed finish for a young man, given a major opportunity. He's been out with hamstring trouble, so he's back into the side, but you consider 18 years old to get into this type of position and then finish it so coolly, but City is complacent. It's really laboured, but how quickly is Aarons onto this? Uses his pace, his first touch is excellent, and he keeps his head. He doesn't try and drill it, doesn't try and smash it past Caballero. He literally passes it through the goalkeeper. Wonderful finish, wonderful start for Newcastle.
Well, this is a young man, an England under-20 international who is already forging a reputation. He scored for the England under-20s in a romping win against Romania earlier this season. He's already got a Premier League goal under his belt. Now he has a big one here at the Etihad.
Well, his pace was impressive, first touch as impressive, the finish really cool, but his ability, his awareness to know the chance might be on. He wasn't caught on his heels, he was ready to move forward into that attacking position. It really bodes well for his future. Fabulous finish from the young man.
Riding the challenges of James Milner there. Colaccini looking long for the other team attacker for the Toon tonight, Adam Armstrong. It's about time. The Banks of the Tyne had a good news story to really get their teeth into. It's been a pretty wretched start to the season for many reasons. They tried to see Manchester City whether David Silva could continue. And a couple of early blows for Manuel Pellegrini and Manchester City, the League Cup holders. They've lost a goal and now they've lost a key player.
Just holding the inside of that left knee. Normally that means it's kind of medial ligaments. He's possibly opened his knee up, just tweaked that, and they can't take a risk. Of course they want to win this game. They're sent out there to give them the best chance in maybe the first hour of the game. His first touch is excellent, Silva out of his feet. Just gets hauled back, and just wonder, as his left foot hits the ground there, does it just tweak that left knee? And once you do that, you, as a manager, can't take any risks. He's one of your best players, you've got to take him off and hopefully get him right for the weekend.
Didn't look to be that bad a collision or that bad a landing at an initial look at it, but it is one that we'll see David Silva exit stage left and Samir Nasri come on for his first action in 6 weeks. And maybe it's a change they may have made a little earlier. Samir Nasri wasn't quite ready, had to dart back into the dressing room and get his shirt. Dzeko appealing for a handball, which is given. Stuart Atwell, our referee tonight, bringing it back so City can take it from the correct position. Overtime. Well, Alan Pardew said in his pre-match interview with us that he was excited about the pace that Newcastle have in attack. You already see what Rolando Aarons can do. They've got Gabriel Obertan galloping down that right as well. Colaccini. Obertan. Up by Mangala. Mangala can stab clear from Obertan's cross. Well, if anyone needs a reminder as to how long a week can be in football, just ask these two clubs. It was all going swimmingly at half-time in Moscow for Manchester City, wasn't it? Then they gave away a 2-goal lead. They gave West Ham a 2-goal lead, which in the end they couldn't claw back in East London at the weekend, and now Newcastle United have an early lead here. On the flip side, Newcastle back-to-back Barclays Premier League wins for the first time since March. Change side, but not a change in momentum, given what we've seen early on here at the City of Manchester Stadium. De Michelis, collected by Aarons, who'll get another run. Testing Sagna to the very limits and winning a free kick as well.
Oh, once again, we saw it with the goal, just cheaply giving possession away. De Michelis just nodding this ball down. That's very, very poor from an experienced defender, just giving possession away cheaply. You've got to be better than that, and Aaron's onto it in a flash. And he was nudged in the back, and another opportunity here. Surely to get a flyer shot at goal here, work Caballero.
It's been a long time since Newcastle have been able to call on the free kick expertise of Ryan Taylor. But he's the man who steps up here. Into a fairly hefty-looking Manchester City wall. There's plenty of height in this starting lineup for them. Slightly nervous moment there for Massimo Haidara, who's back in at left back tonight for Newcastle. Decent crowd inside the Etihad tonight, and a very strong contingent coming from the northeast here to the northwest. 3,000 Newcastle United supporters. They're the ones you can hear predominantly at the moment. Colaccini. And Obertan has open ground ahead of him. Mangala caught in two minds. And that shot cleared away. Yaya Toure. This is where City can be so dangerous. Jovetic. Colaccini comes across to take it off Nasri.
That's been the story, really, the opening 14 minutes. Newcastle have been aggressive, been competitive. The City in possession, it's been too late, but not playing one- and two-touch football that we normally associate with the team.
Milner. Jovetic and Edin Dzeko, the two waiting in the middle. Nasri forced back. Fernandinho. Lovely dip of the shoulder, Fernandinho. The build-up was promising, but the finish marginally disappointing, unlike the one from this young man.
Well, it doesn't matter how good you are, if you're up against a young, enthusiastic side, you can't dally in possession. That's what City do here. A lazy ball into midfield. Fernandinho is caught in possession, but then how quickly Aarons is onto it. His first touch and his finish are absolutely top-notch. He's well balanced, he knows exactly what he wants to do. He's up against the most expensive defender in British football history, and he just breezes by him and tucks it away. It's a brilliant goal.
Quarter of an hour played. Fairly lengthy injury to David Silva. But one way or another, it's been a very strong start from the men in black and white stripes. Manuel Pellegrini putting out a strong side here to try and end what is not exactly a malaise, but it's certainly a blip coming into two early season-shaping games in the next 7 days. Hasn't worked out so far. Milner. They succumb to Fernandinho. Just taken away from Dzeko. The Dutchman Jan Maat is back. It'll be a City throw.
Stout defending again from Jan Maat. It's intelligent movement from Dzeko. He doesn't play up against centre-halves if he can. He tries to drift into wide areas, onto full-backs. That's what he did there. Fernandinho just trying to drift that ball out towards him.
Nasri. Fernandinho. Broken up by Jan Maat. This time we see the pace of Adam Armstrong.
I don't think Alan Pardew can ask any more of his team. And what we're seeing here, they're playing the game in the right areas. They're a goal to the good. I think when you saw his team selection, most people would have expected that to happen in the opening 16, 17 minutes, but that is very definitely the case.
When Newcastle arrived, he took the two teenagers, Rolando Aarons and Adam Armstrong, to one side. Just a couple of minutes, had a word with them and sent them out to have a look around the place. They both started one senior game before this, but this is certainly the biggest stage on which they have operated. Early signs they're rising to the occasion. Jovetic now for City. Milner, Kolarov. The two main men in the middle. Dzeko's one of them, just over him. Aaron's back doing the defensive side of his brief. Newcastle getting in a bit of a muddle on the edge of their own box. Aarons has given it to Sagna. Fernandinho. Flicked by Nasri. This is well worked by City. Jovetic's first shot's blocked, and the second just rolls wide.
Well, we know what City are capable of, even though they're not playing that well once they start zipping that ball around. And it is all about tempo, one- and two-touch football, and good movement off the ball as well. Brilliant play from Nasri. And the important thing for Newcastle is strength in numbers. They're just making it very congested, hard for City to play through them.
Bay. Awkward one for Colaccini. Armstrong looking for Aarons. They're certainly used to playing away in the Capital One Cup. Newcastle, it's their third match, their third away from home. Started off with a 1-0 win down at Gillingham at the Priestfield Stadium. Then extra time to get past Crystal Palace. Defending here for Aarons to do. Puts it behind for a corner.
Well, it's better from City because when the opposition defend in numbers, you have to get the ball out wide, either to Milner or maybe Kolarov down that left-hand side to stretch the back four of Newcastle and get some crosses in.
Milner working the angle, back to Samir Nasri. Oh, it's loose and saved by Elliott. Still Newcastle can't get it away. Jovetic fumes at himself. It was a real chance for City to level this one up.
Oh, but there's the difference when they get the ball into wide areas and the quality really kicks in. Nasri, a wonderful ball in. Jovetic a couple of stabs at it, but Rob Elliott, his positioning was good. That's why he was able to make the saves.
Milner. The home side starting to look a little more like themselves. Yaya Toure. Milner. Sanya's well forward. Aarons caught fairly heftily there by James Milner.
Oh, this is a nasty one. Aarons doing his defensive work really well. Milner nowhere near the ball, clearly a free kick, but this is the opportunity for Jovetic at the far post. Really clever play from Milner just to switch it. Quality ball in from Nasri. Jovetic does pretty much everything right. Doesn't see it so late with the first chance. That's probably the best of the two that he has. And when it cannons back to him, just can't sort his feet out. His balance isn't right. And that's a major opportunity gone.
Quarter of a way through the match. Is it going to be one of those nights for Manchester City? Early hit taken, courtesy of Rolando Aarons, but plenty of time to put it right. Here's Janmaat.
Again, you see how far Daryl Janmaat travels there. The right back just pushing on. No one in a blue shirt getting anywhere near him. He was absolutely right to take the shot on.
Madara's lost out. Advantage is play. So he caught plenty of Sanya. Milner. Jovetic. Toure. Joko pulling into a good position. Blocked by Colaccini.
It's really good refereeing from Stuart Atwell. He might well have a word with Hadara, but the right thing to do as a referee is let the game flow.
A big week for Stuart Atwell, taking charge here, and he'll be back on Premier League duty for the first time in 2.5 years, thanks to Ed Sheeran.
I do think he's very fortunate, Hadara, to get away with this, because that's naughty. It's late. He's clearly nowhere near the ball, and Stuart Atwell has let him get off with one there.
Bay, Armstrong. Back to the young Frenchman. Hadara. Aarons. Milner having to really bust a gut to stay with young Rolando Aarons, but doing so. Jovetic has Milner to his right. Yaya Toure, Fernandinho. Jovetic, the man from Montenegro, dropping deep and firing wide.
And that's what we're going to see from Jovetic. Edin Dzeko will lead the line and he'll just drop into that pocket of space in between the lines, look to get on the ball, but that was ambitious. He was a long, long way out.
It's just not quite clicking for Manuel Pellegrini and Manchester City at the moment. You look here at the Etihad, which has been a fortress under him, as it was under Roberto Mancini at times before, but they've already dropped as many Premier League points here this season as they did in the whole of last. He was talking in the build-up, the Chilean, about the importance of clean sheets. They've only had 3. This is their 15th game of the season here. Newcastle even have had more than that. Jovetic. Stuart Atwell took a good look at it. And he is going to have a word here.
And it's Paul Dummett that goes flying in. Sees a bit of the ball, thinks I can maybe get to that. I'm not sure whether he did make any contact with the ball, but it's probably just the intent, the way he comes flying into the challenge, that makes the referee's mind up. This is a temptation as a centre-half, and the ball is possibly there to be won. And go flying in, try and pinch it. And the fact it comes from the back as well. It makes Stuart Atwell's mind up.
Well, it's an area where Newcastle are a little short at centre-half. Mike Williamson's still out injured. Stephen Taylor has a little bit of a knock. That's why he's not risked tonight with an early kick-off at home against Liverpool on Saturday. Fernandinho, Nasri finding space, and Jovetic. Kolarov goes low, goes early. Colaccini, oh! I think that came back off the post.
Well, there seemed to be absolutely no danger in the cross from Kolarov. It was good positioning from Colaccini. Just doesn't sort his feet out. We see these in the past just drop over the goalkeeper's head. It just comes back off the post, and Colaccini is very, very fortunate.
Very, very, very fortunate, I think. He's got it away this time. Backed by Fernandinho. No offside flag here. Milner shaping to get it in, just too high for Dzeko, and plays over the left foot of Jovetic.
And the chances keep coming for City. They're stretching Newcastle now, but they're just not taking these opportunities. But when you clear your lines, you have to clear your lines as one. It's Di Michaelis who manages to get himself in behind the Newcastle defence. He is onside. You really want that fall into a striker. The crosses are coming in. It's just not really a convincing finish at the end. Well, the threat is certainly growing, and with the quality City have in their ranks, eventually I feel they're going to score, but just one shot on target out of the 6 that they have, that's not good enough.
Well, he would have expected a response after a really strong Newcastle start. City certainly asking questions. Milner. Toure. Sagna. Fernandinho. Di Michaelis. Nasri.
Well, you'd probably expect City to dominate possession after going behind. They've got to get back into the game as quickly as possible. It's about turning that possession into real opportunities. They've had a couple. They've got to keep making them with that amount of ball with the players they have on show. They probably fancy themselves to be level at least by half-time.
Well, just coming up to the half-hour mark, it's a long, long time to sit back and try and soak it up, if that is the Alan Pardew game plan.
I think it probably was. They probably know that City would dominate the ball, but you don't maybe plan to sit back. Your position sometimes force you to sit back, and if you do have to sit back, it's then about organisation and communication. Strength in numbers is one thing. Sometimes you can get in each other's way, and you have to communicate well, and that really stems from Colaccini and Dummett.
And Lampard, who is still injured, sitting up, looking on with his fiancée. Mangala helped out by Fernandinho. Ryan Taylor close to stealing it. And Lebade lightweight in that combination there with Mangala, but it's calm to Obertan. Perhaps a little rash in taking the shot on from there, but Newcastle still have it. Haidara. Still going, Haidara. Now Milner. Dzeko. Kolarov. Too much on it to pick out Dzeko. Obertan. Janmaat to Obertan. Ole's coming from the Newcastle fans here. And there could be some ideas because it's Yaya Toure. Nasri sizing up his options, going low. Looking for another in-off of Colaccini.
He had to come back to the edge of the box because there was nothing on in the box.
And Obertan is in behind here. He's only got one man to aim at. That's Armstrong. That's a corner.
Well, the game is starting to get stretched very early for the game to get stretched. He's going to make it entertaining. He's going to make it hard work as well, because Obertan has to do a lot of defensive work, and then he's really in the side as well to play on the counter, so he has to cover an awful lot of ground in attack.
This time that's the Newcastle captain. Fabrizio Colaccini has had to come up for a corner tonight. Certainly got the height advantage, Manchester City. It's loose and it's cleared off the line by Dummett. Two centre-halves, Dummett and Colaccini staying forward.
Well, I'll tell you what, Caballero could have just kept City in the Capital One Cup here, because this is a golden chance for 2-0. Dummett is he's dumped to the ground, but he manages to get up. Well, he pretty much does everything right. Good contact, keeps it on target. There's a centre-half in this position. He should really be scoring from there, but good position from Caballero. A mightily important save. There's a bit of wrestling in the penalty area. Mangala wrestles Dummett to the ground, but give the centre-half credit. Up and on his feet, should really have buried the chance.
Well, Dummett, who's already made a really telling contribution to this Newcastle United Cup run this season, got the winner deep in extra time down at Crystal Palace. Give it the shoulder from Nasri, there's Colaccini. Dimichelis. Well, David Silva already off the field, injured. Now look at this from Yaya Toure. I just feel that the roof is falling in here, Manuel Pellegrini.
Well, this is quickly turning into a horror show for Manuel Pellegrini. First Silva off. He just gets caught We'll hope Pellegrini it's just an impact injury and not a twist. If it's just a kick on the ankle, you can quickly recover from that.
Well, it's a hot topic in football at the moment, isn't it? Grappling inside the penalty area. Some referees are giving it, some are not. And certainly there was plenty of contact on Paul Dummett. What do you make of this one, Andy?
Well, it's difficult for referees because they probably expect centre-halves, centre-forwards to be wrestling there, but Mangala actually does put his arm around the neck of Paul Dummett. The referee's in a good position to view this as well. Well, actually, I just wonder whether Aarons is possibly in his way. The referee can't see it, can't give it. I just think the centre-half does really well. He doesn't turn around, complain to the referee. He tries to score, and very nearly does.
I think the early pointers are that it is, as you were saying, an impact injury rather than anything more sinister there for Yaya Toure. Colaccini. Kolarov. De Michelis. No signs of any serious damage there for Yaya Toure. So he rolled the ball across to the right. Fernandinho picks out Dzeko. Nasri. Kolarov. Jovetic. Now by Colaccini. City will come again. Fernandinho. Yaya Toure. He's turned away from Taylor. Open it up for himself. Now Kolarov. Plenty of light blue in the middle here. Kolarov went low. Not the first time he's done that tonight. Fernandinho. Milner's persistence pays off. He's taken it away from Aarons. Janmaat left it. Not sure he could have got to it, that's why. Kolarov. Nasri and Colback, the two involved there, and the former Sunderland man who played in the final against Manchester City last season is penalised. Another one of those spells where City is stepping it up. Dzeko. Fernandinho. Kolarov. Pings off Dzeko. Abeda's in there. And then Adam Armstrong, the only Newcastle United player anywhere near the opposition half. So there's plenty of time for Jimmy Shalis. Kolarov dived in. It's come to Yaya Toure, cut back there from Samir Nasri. Obertan. Colaccini just in there ahead of Fernandinho. Now Obertan. Haidara. Aarons. Haidara.
Well, this is where Newcastle need just to take the sting out of the game. They've been defending solidly for the last, 5 minutes or so. Now they're on the ball. Just keep hold of it, try and frustrate the home team.
Michaelis, he's one of 6 of this Manchester City starting lineup that started the win against Sunderland, that brought Manchester City their first League Cup since 1976. A much stiffer examination of their defence of the trophy here so far tonight than many expected, particularly when they saw all those changes that Newcastle had made to the team sheet. Yaya Toure. Sagna.
I'm sure Pellegrini's not going to panic just yet. Need to make that forced change with David Silva coming off. He's got Navas on the bench, Aguero as well. And if Newcastle continue to be well organised and have an appetite for defending, it could be a long evening. You might have to look to those two in particular to change the course of the game.
Jesus Navas warming up. Be surprised to see him before half-time. You never know. Milner. Nasri. Madara, having won it back, has given it back to Manchester City. Mangala. Jovetic. Touch from Toure. Still Jovetic. Haidara tucking in to frustrate City, and Sagna couldn't hold it.
Well, Haidara does fantastically well as a fullback at times. You've got to sit in close to your centre-halves, because this is what City like to do, just pop the ball around. Really clever play from Jovetic. This would have been the killer pass. Haidara does really well to keep his balance and cut out that pass for Milner.
Milner. Tracked by Abed. Let's come to Jovetic. Now Yaya Toure.
If you actually watch Rob Elliott here, he's actually on the move. He knows exactly what Yaya Toure is looking to do, and the keeper's actually moving to his right, appreciating that's where the ball is going to go, and it's a fairly comfortable save in the end.
Jovetic. Fernandinho. Milner hands it up for Dzeko, who gets ahead to it. Out by Haidara. Down up towards the halfway line, but they're struggling to get away out at times, Newcastle. Fernandinho. Kolarov for Milner. He's spotted the run of Nasri. Kolarov. Let's come off Abed, and Elliott can scuttle across and make sure and it doesn't sneak into that top corner.
Yeah, I think Newcastle could do with half-time now, but Yaya Toure has such good balance right and left and go either way. You just watch the keeper, he's actually on the move. He expects this shot to be curling to his right. It's a comfortable height as well. Good stop.
And when they trailed by their scoreline at Wembley, it was Yaya Toure who came to the rescue. Now the focus very much on the Etihad Stadium this Super Sunday. Manchester City against Manchester United from 12:30, Sky Sports 1. That's the first part of a Super Sunday doubleheader. Second part, Villa Park. Villa against Tottenham from 3:30, Sky Sports 1. This sort of situation, it's always a big psychological staging post, isn't it? Getting to half-time with a lead intact. Remember, 6 minutes on the clock when Rolando Aarons pounced. His pace embarrassing, really, the Manchester City backline, and Mangala.
Well, at half-time, Alan Pardew has to keep his players focused. That's the important thing. When you've done so well in the first half, you're a goal to the good. The job is not done against a side like Man City with the quality that they have. They can undo you very quickly. So it's about starting the second half as well as you play throughout the first.
Milner. He's got two for company. Might need some assistance. Sanya trying to offer that behind him. In the end, Milner just running out of ideas. A player who spent 4 years at St James Park.
Well, you see a bit of naivety from Aarons there. Just needed to pass that ball infield. Jack Colback made a good forward run. Just needed to release the ball. It's not always about beating players and looking good. Doing the right thing is passing the ball to a teammate who's in a better position.
Taylor penalised for the foul on Edin Dzeko. Treatment and assessment of the injury to David Silva took a while, so we will have 4 minutes of added time. Fernandinho. Sanya. Torre powering forward and managing to get a corner.
Well, he's chasing pretty much a lost cause there, Torre, but does really well just to flick the ball off the Newcastle defender and give you a chance right at the death for the home team to draw level.
He was still off the pitch as a result of the collision that led to the corner. Stuart Atwell has blown his whistle, so the corner will be retaken. Mehdi Abed will be spoken to here. So a Milner retake for Manchester City. And a powered header over by Mangala.
Well, it's not easy for Mangala, and that's my problem really with away swinging corners. It's so difficult for the header of the ball to generate the power and the accuracy. As Mangala, you can see he's moving actually away from goal. It's very, very difficult to score from that type of position.
Presumably he has to be coming onto the ball, does he?
Exactly, that's why I'm a big fan of those in-swinging corners. Lots of pace, keep the keeper away, and get the big centre-halves attacking that ball as it moves towards the goal.
Well, they've had the attempts, the ratio of attempts to those on target, not particularly impressive. Perhaps the most worrying moment, as far as Newcastle were concerned, was the ball coming off Colaccini onto the frame of their own goal. Over the years, this is the 5th time these two sides have met in this competition. Newcastle have never won. They've never won on this ground. Manchester City have won the last 11 meetings between them as we approach half-time. Newcastle on course to reset a few of those statistics. And there's a long, long way to go. Overtime. Hounded by Fernandinho, and eventually the contact enough to see him go to ground.
Well, Obertan's done really well since he's come into the Newcastle side. Scored the winner against Leicester a couple of games ago. He's a provider as well. Saw him up at Swansea providing a goal for Cisse. He's a hard worker as well. He's been given an opportunity by Alan Pardew, and he's certainly taken it.
Aaron's getting it back from Milner. Colback. That's not an aerial contest that Adam Armstrong is going to win most of the time. Kolarov trying to set off on one of those runs, but what a good challenge that was by Jan Maat. Obertan back to the Dutchman who goes low. Armstrong! Oh, inches wide.
I'm not sure whether Di Michaelis gets to the ball first and then it cannons off Armstrong, but once again, City taking chances in the middle of the park, losing possession, wonderful ball in. I think it actually cannons off the centre forward. I don't think he gets to this ball first. I think the defender's there first. Hard to tell, but it certainly comes back off him. Caballero wrong-footed, could easily have been 2-0.
Well, what a tremendous story this could be here at the Etihad for Newcastle United. 18-year-old Rolando Aarons giving them an early lead. They were tested after that 6th-minute goal. But at half-time, it is intact. City 0, Newcastle United 1.
In his second ever start for Newcastle, Rolando Aarons has his second ever goal that gives Pardew's men a 1-0 lead at half-time in his 4th round tie in the Capital One Cup. Man City with 9 attempts to Newcastle's 5, but Newcastle with more attempts on target. But as you would expect from Man City at home, they have been dominating possession. Niall Quinn, Stuart Pearce alongside me, much to get through. Then, gents, we'll start off with the goal. Now, did Newcastle take advantage of some complacency from the home side?
Yeah, I think they were very lackadaisical, Man City. They had good possession of the ball, and certainly Fernandinho, when it comes into him, after a little bit of ping-pong, you'll see it here. Colback puts a header in after receiving it. Not a lot of danger here when it makes its way out. Kolarov drops it inside, what Man City do, but that's the point of complacency. And what didn't Aarons do so well? Once he sniffed it, there was an opening there. His determination to get there, his pace, to capitalise on Man City's mistake, he does really, really well, and he slots a really good ball in between the goalkeeper's legs. And, you know, they'd started, I know it was 6 minutes, but for 5 minutes they were tigerish. They were shown that they were able to do things like that. And then the kid goes and gets this opportunity and puts it away. And it really made Man City sit up and take notice.
And in the end, Manchester City did sit up and take notice. We were going to expect a response, and we got it. In terms of Man City, there's an attacking threat in that first half, Stuart. What have you made of them?
I think the intricacies around the edge of the box and the ability to get it wide and flash crosses across the front of the goal has been very, very good. The one thing Newcastle have done is squeeze up a little bit, I think, because there's no real out-and-out pace. And I think that's the one thing Newcastle have got. They've got some pace in their team, in Hadara and Obertan, that can hurt the opposition.
That's a brilliant save from Elliott, though, isn't it, from Jovetic?
It's point blank, you know. It's a game-saving save, basically.
What have you made of Jovetic overall? I mean, his first start since August, he's looked like it, hasn't he?
He can be anxious. He's got plenty of movement, he's lively, he sees things, but when it comes to that final little bit, the finish, he's still anxious. He still feels he has to prove himself every time he pulls a blue shirt, and I think he does it a little bit too quickly at times. But, you know, the sad thing for Man City in that half was their best chance was a missed kick from Colaccini, which hit the post. Elliott made a good save, as you said, but there's a subdued feeling about Manchester City's performance tonight. It's on the back of 2 previous subdued performances, and you've Newcastle taken advantage of it. And I think the story of that half really is full marks to Newcastle. They've been terrific, and their fans, we spoke about the relationship between the manager and what have you, they've been excellent as well down in that corner, and they're making this game. And for
Paul Dummett, 2 things to talk about here, Stuart. First of all, how big a chance was this?
Well, it was a great chance, and more importantly, it was a great save, I think, you know. I think the goalkeeper's done brilliantly there.
But this is the big talking point. You've had yours sounded in the papers today. Is that a penalty or not?
It looked like it, definitely looked like it, but I think in every corner you can probably pick out a penalty in every match. So what do? Do you end up, you know, giving penalties all the time that dictate the result of matches?
And it could have been 2-0.
Well, I'm obviously so pleased to see a young Geordie lad get in the team and take his chance. He gets a touch, and this is going in. And Di Michaelis does ever so well to prevent the young lad scoring a second goal for his club, for Newcastle on the night. He's been lively, you know, 17 years of age, and not in the slightest bit afraid of the task that's out there. Aaron's on the other side as well. You know, it's been a pleasure to watch. Newcastle have really brought something into this match tonight, and Man City have to do something about it now in the second half. Pardew deserves serious praise for the way he's got this team to play.
And if Manchester City are to get through to the quarter-finals for the 2nd season running at the expense of Newcastle, they're going to have to battle hard. It's been a real intense battle out there so far. Silva, one of the early casualties, and so far it's been a rather uncomfortable night for Pellegrini. Will it continue? 3 games in the Capital One Cup 4th round tonight. Rolando Aarons' second goal for Newcastle United has given Alan Pardew's team a very key lead at half-time. Just to tell you what's happening elsewhere, Stoke are 2-0 down to Southampton at half-time. Graziani Pella with another goal. Shane Long getting a goal as well. It's all square between Tottenham and Brighton at White Hart Lane. Remember, the draw for the 5th round follows this game, extra time and penalties if required. And here with news of a significant change for Newcastle is Andy Hinchcliffe and Bill Leslie.
Well, as you can see, Sammy Amiobi has come on for Newcastle United. He's replaced the goalscorer Rolando Arons. Seeing as Rolando Arons has only just come back from a spell out with injury, perhaps not a surprise that he didn't last the full picture. Sammy Amiobi may well struggle to make a similar impact as he did after coming on at half-time at White Hart Lane on Sunday, seeing as Manchester City kick off. But 8 seconds later, they were level. Arons has made a precautionary departure, we gather, and as such, Manchester City also had to withdraw David Silva, make no further changes at half-time.
City in the first half were complacent, sloppy in possession. Just seen it again there from Alexander Kolarov, under no pressure whatsoever, just gifting the ball back to Newcastle. And City really need to step up the tempo. They need to concentrate a lot more in this second half if they are to get back into the game.
Checo looking to seek Samir Nasri, the man who came on for a return after his spell out on the sidelines with injury, to replace David Silva.
There's been no further changes from Pellegrini, but Jesus Navas was going through a pretty rigorous warm-up at half-time, and I suspect he will be the one sent on to provide real width and pace to possibly stretch this Newcastle defence. If City don't get a goal maybe in the first 15 minutes of the second half, they're going to surely have to send Navas on. They've got Aguero on the bench as well. They're going to have to do something to change the course of the game.
Enviable options available to Manuel Pellegrini. Sergio Aguero out, but showing no signs of an immediate introduction. Sanya. Nasri. Jovetic. He'll be looking to add end product to the useful positioning he took up in the first half. He's given away a free kick here for that foul on Mehdi Abe.
It's very congested in the middle of the park. City have the ability with those 1- and 2-touch passes, play and move with Jovetic and Toure, but that's where Newcastle are strong. They're getting plenty of bodies back in the middle of the field, so City need to keep the ball in there, but then quickly switch it, get it out wide, get some crosses in.
Kolarov. Abe. Taylor. It'd be a surprise if he was able to last a full 90 minutes, Ryan Taylor, on what is his first appearance for 2 years and 2 months. Obertan. Ross now looking over to the bench, surely not another injury.
It seems to be his elbow that he's complaining about, just either purposely knocked the ball out of play or sliced it out of play, whether he took a knock. He's clearly got a problem, and problems are mounting up for Manuel Pellegrini here.
That's pain etched all over his face. And given the severity of what appears to be an elbow injury, it would be a surprise if he were to carry on.
Trying to work out how Alex Kolarov picked up this injury. Especially as he goes down here, as he touches his left arm to the ground, as he twists that elbow. Oh, it can happen. Normally we're looking at players' legs when they go down like that, twisting knees, but of course you put your arms down to protect yourself, to cushion the fall, and you could easily tweak an elbow.
Well, if he is unable to continue, the obvious replacement in the derby would be Gael Clichy. He's not among the substitutes tonight. So you'd have to look at maybe Dedrick Boyata coming on and a reshuffle at the back.
He's got Pablo Zabaleta on the bench as well, but with that Manchester derby ahead, he's one player he really wouldn't want to have to send on here. Looks like Kolarov has been bandaged up and might be okay just to battle through.
Given what happened in Moscow, what happened in East London, little doubts in the back of minds, and these little things like the chances being squandered and missed in the first half. Colaccini own goal that nearly was when the ball came back off the frame of the goal. Just doubts in players' mind, no matter what the calibre or the ability are. Misplaced pass from Yaya Toure.
Well, we can criticise City, look at the way that they're playing, and I think it hasn't been at their very, very best, but you have to admire Newcastle, as we did with West Ham and CSK Moscow as well. If you play against City, you have to work very hard, be aggressive, be well organised, and all those three sides that have given City a problem have done that.
Jovetic. He was caught late there, Jovetic, and Stuart Atwell's pulled it back for a free kick, despite the pass being wayward. Very muted atmosphere around the Etihad now. City need a spark. Newcastle not allowing them at the moment to find one.
Well, at times you get the fans lifting the players, but it seems the City fans want the players to do the job for them tonight. They would have expected them to be in a fairly comfortable position against a somewhat understrength Newcastle side, but they simply haven't played well enough and need to play a lot better to get the crowd behind them.
We've got Milner standing over this, Nasri in close attendance. Milner's found Kolarov, who's in behind, has fizzed it across the face of goal. On the positive side, as far as the injury goes for Manchester City, is that Kolarov is moving fine. He's taken off the bandaging. No need to reach for a second injury-enforced substitution.
Just an example, though, from that free kick. If Newcastle do go to sleep, City have the ingenuity, the ability to open them up, and Kolarov got in there very easily. And actually, I think he put too much on the cross, really whipped it in. That's his trademark, but it doesn't give his teammates a chance of getting on the end of it. There's so much pace on the cross.
Fernandinho. Touch from Milner. Slightly caught on his heels there, Bukayo Saka. Taylor not accurate enough to pick out young Adam Armstrong, who's the lone striker.
The problem for Alan Pardew, looking at his bench, if his players do tire, I'm sure they will. He will have to make changes. A lot of his substitutes are attacking players: Perez, Riviere, Gouffran, Kabbalah. There's only really Sissoko who he could send out there to do a real defensive job.
Fernandinho. Kolarov. And certainly looking down the left as an avenue of attack. But on that occasion, Kolarov not finding his usual quality.
He's getting into a decent position. As a manager, what you want with players in that type of position is real quality, and Kolarov normally provides that. Just lackadaisical again. That's really been a story for this City performance so far.
Armstrong. Some bodies forward here, Newcastle. Taylor, Obertan's offside. Oh, fine finish. But all irrelevant in the grand scheme of things.
He's got caught ball watching here, Gabriel Obertan. Patient football from Newcastle. He is offside, only half a yard, but he just needs to step back onside, and then he can make that forward run.
Newcastle. Fernandinho. Nasri. Kolarov. They began contesting. So to the Dutchman Janmaat. Newcastle United throw. Look back over Newcastle's recent record in the League Cup. We have to go back a long time from the last time that they went past this stage, the fourth round into the quarterfinals. They've only been beyond this round once in the last 12 years. That's when Glenn Roeder's Newcastle lost the quarterfinal to Chelsea back in 2006.
I think however you look at it, Newcastle were certainly up against it tonight. They've never won at the Etihad. They've never beaten City in this competition. So the side that Alan Pardew put out is asking an awful lot for them to take the game to City, but that's exactly what they've done here.
Kolarov. That's a good ball to pick out. Checo! Blocked away. Sanya will see it spin for a throw right in the corner.
Really brave defending from Paul Dummett. Switched to centre-half tonight, just steps out at just the right time. He knew that Dzeko was going to shoot and made sure he was in the way.
Dummett again, the last line of the Newcastle defence, preventing the through ball to Milner. Milner, reflection off Haidara. Toure. Milner. Paul and the claim from Rob Elliott.
It's really positive keeping from Rob Elliott. He's got to do that really just to alleviate some of the pressure on the Newcastle defence. When those crosses come in, you've got Dzeko, Jovetic. They're a big side, City, so the keeper has to come and claim when he can.
Demichelis. Jovetic finding Samir Nasri. We said a little earlier that Newcastle or any side are sitting in like they are, stringing bodies across the back. Width is what is required, and Jesus Navas Andy's going to come on in a moment. He's stripped and ready.
I think the only problem though for Jesus Navas is the amount of space he has to work in, because it's very congested. Newcastle defending deep, and he's a player, Navas, who likes space to run into. He's got that pace to get past fullbacks. It might be very difficult for him. The space might be limited, so then we can get past fullbacks and get crosses in. Time will tell.
Jovetic. Milner making the angled run to try and get on the end of a straight ball, but just not clicking for City yet. Well, I'm sure it would have been the plan to take off Yaya Toure after just about an hour, but not with the landscape looking as it is. Navas has gone to the right. It looks like Nasri will play just off the front two of Jovetic and Dzeko. Newcastle rarely offering a threat going forward and just sitting in. And for Yaya Toure, who's largely played a sitting role tonight, hasn't been too adventurous going forward. He's now surplus to requirements. Bay coming away from Edin Dzeko. Mangala. Aved is down. Obertan has it. Janmaat. Cut out by Kolarov. Still the Newcastle midfielder. He's prone on the ground. If there was a blow to the face, I think it was accidental. That's my initial impression anyway.
Well, the referee has the worry, though, of making sure the player is all right. Of course, he wants the game to flow with Newcastle in possession. And Mangala comes in there with a forearm, leads with that forearm. Very dangerous. Strong play, maybe many defenders will say, but he does lift that arm. Certainly catches Abeid. Let's hope he's okay.
Many interested onlookers here tonight. Among their number, the Everton manager, Roberto Martinez. As you'd have seen from that replay, there was plenty of contact there from Mangala on Abeid. We can see clearly why he's down.
Well, the problem is for Abeid, as he's moving forward, he's not prepared for the challenge at all. Certainly a leading arm from Mangala, but as a player, sometimes you prepare yourself for a challenge. You can maybe get out of the way or kind of cushion the blow a little bit. But Abeid didn't have that luxury and was really caught cold.
Well, the Newcastle medical staff will assess and with the measure of the blow to his head, I'm sure he'll be okay to continue. And the Frenchman is back on. Full complement restored for Newcastle United, who still lead, courtesy of that 6th minute Rolando Aarons goal. Could have extended their advantage as well, but for a smart save by Willy Caballero in the Manchester City goal to deny Paul Dummett. City have been off colour tonight. Flick from Milner. Second time of asking, he gets it beyond that Jan man. Now Dzeko. Kolarov just overshot the runway. Now by Colaccini.
You see how hard Obertan is working there, doing his defensive duties. He has to do that, has to track Kolarov all the way back into his own penalty area.
Nasri. Fernandinho. Would you expect, Andy, a little more urgency from Manchester City as they look to put this right?
Oh, absolutely, but they are a patient side. We've seen them in the past not play particularly well, then suddenly burst into life, but there's just no real signs of anything happening here. You'd have to say since half-time, City have dominated the ball. For Rob Elliott, he's hardly had a thing to do.
Now Yamad is the man to make way for Musa Sissoko. So there'll be something of a reshuffle here for Newcastle United with the midfielder coming on for the fullback. Ryan Taylor, of course, is very capable of slotting in that position, and that looks like what he'll do. Well, even the most experienced of strikers playing the low striking role here at the Etihad is at times a forlorn one. He's done well, Adam Armstrong, before being replaced by Emmanuel Riviere.
Well, it's all Alan Pardew's changes now as well, and for Ryan Taylor, after being out injured for over 2 years, he's clearly now going to have to play the whole game, with a couple of positions as well. It's mental just as much as physical when you're out for so long. He's got to set his mind to the task now. He's probably dealing with Kolarov breaking down this left-hand side and see just how fit he is.
Meanwhile, down the right for City is Jesus Navas. Cut out by Dummett at the near post, who has had a strong evening. Haidar and Sami Amiobi. Dummett away. Dzeko's kept it in. Prevented the throw-in, but in so doing, has presented Newcastle with a goal kick.
At times, City just not doing the basics right. Dzeko does really well to keep that ball in play, but just get hold of it. As a centre forward, that's what it's all about. Don't always try and beat players every time you get possession. If they start doing that, City, and doing the basics right, I think they can open up this Newcastle defence.
Well, it's often mentioned, isn't it, whenever Newcastle enter into a cup campaign, the last successful one. And Bobby Moncur's name etched into Newcastle United club folklore. And if Newcastle were to progress to the quarter-finals or beyond, it'd be against a very unlikely backdrop, given the way that the last couple of months have gone for them. In fact, the only silver linings to the early season clouds very much coming in this competition, with the scratchy win at Gillingham and the extra time one against Crystal Palace. And they're 3/4 of the way there now. They've held on to this lead for an hour.
Well, I suppose Alan Pardew never really expected his side to be in this type of position, but that is tantalisingly close to winning the game, and that's why Pellegrini is turning to his big hitters. Aguero getting ready to come on. City have to throw him on and hope he can turn the game their way.
Sissoko. Obertan. Obeyed back to Obertan. Kolbach. Sami Amiobi. Couldn't find Riviere. Some touch of Colaccini, Ryan Taylor.
In many ways, City could do with Newcastle coming forward a little bit, leaving some spaces, because then they can play on the counter-attack. But they're in possession here, and it's fairly laboured from City. Newcastle get everybody back. They're well organised. And City really struggling to break them down.
Amiobi. Riviere picks himself up quickly, but Amiobi is the man who comes onto it. Obertan has set off. Lovely pass to pick him out. Obertan, oh! There's a decision for Stuart Atwell to make there. Newcastle look for the penalty. The referee's not going to give it.
Well, this is a massive, massive call from Stuart Atwell. Did he get it right? We'll soon see.
Colaccini. Amiobi. Riviere. It's a yellow card for Mangala by the look of things.
Well, Alan Pardew is absolutely livid. Should his side have had a penalty here? Wonderful ball from Sami Amiobi. Obertan is goal side of Kolarov, and to me, I'm not sure the left back gets anywhere near the ball. He points at it. I'm not sure he gets any contact at all with the ball. He clearly doesn't. I think City have got away with it there. This is the best angle really to see it. Is Kolarov anywhere near the ball? Clearly not. That's a penalty.
Well, the initial impressions of Alan Pardew of the Newcastle fans, and I have to say, of Andy and I up here, was that it was a very close shout for a penalty. Meantime, Sergio Aguero has been sent on here for Manchester City. And Samir Nasri, who himself came off the bench, has come on. Let's just clear up this booking for you, Andy. Mangala picking up a yellow card. This is why.
He's had some really strange performances in the City shirt. He's under pressure, of course, with the transfer fee, but that's a clear body check. I think the referee's right to book him for that.
Aguero. Jovetic. Milner.
Well, when you're in this type of position, away at a side like Man City, a goal to the good, you have an opportunity. The ball is played in behind a fullback. You feel that Obertan is fouled. It's bound to drive you mad because that's all you're asking for. One correct decision, you make it 2-0. Could be pretty much game over, and it's possibly what Newcastle deserve.
And if City do turn this round, I think we know what one of the significant post-match talking points will be. The incident in the first half involving Mangala, and he appeared to wrestle Dummett to the ground. That's one sometimes you get, sometimes you don't. The evidence that we've seen would suggest that Newcastle United may well have had a penalty there.
Look at the story of the game as well. There's that chance from Dummett. He was fouled, but then he had the volley. Could have made it 2-0. Armstrong could easily have made it 2-0 just before half-time. Now they've had, for me, a clear shout for a penalty turned down as well. So Newcastle, well, they could have been out of sight.
Riviere, who's looked lively since his introduction. Michelis. Obertan. Taylor. Sagna now for Manchester City. Sergio Aguero. Jovetic. Through the challenge of Abe. Colback. Arms on the shoulder of Sergio Aguero. Free kick, Manchester City.
I think Colback can complain all he likes, but it was clearly a foul. Aguero with his low centre of gravity, very hard to nudge off the ball. You tend to have to foul him to get to the ball. Colback is all over him. Clear foul.
Jovetic is the one who spotted it down. No surprise to see Alexander Kolarov also in the mix. Jovetic, who missed the final win against Sunderland last season, injured, and he keep the defence alive. Or will it be Kolarov? Straight down the throat of Rob Elliott.
It's really good positioning by the Newcastle keeper, good footwork as well. He's on the move as Kolarov strikes this. He's always moving back in towards the Newcastle keeper, but really sure with his handling.
Mangala's header falling to Obertan. Fernandinho fouling Colback. Well, Sergio Aguero only about a yard away as he pounced on that ball. And that means only one thing, a yellow card for the Argentinian. All symptomatic of the situation that Manchester City find themselves in. Quarter an hour away from elimination. Played in by Taylor. De Michelis. Navas. Powered back by Taylor. De Michelis put under pressure by Riviere. They keep it alive through Sami Amiobi. Colback's the man in the middle. Here's Sissoko. Driving into the box here, Sissoko! Newcastle do have their second goal. And maybe, at long last, they will have an Etihad win and a place in the League Cup quarter-finals.
Well, this for me is no more than Newcastle deserve. But how about this for footwork from Sissoko? I described him more of it as a defensive midfielder, but this is brilliant attacking play. And again, just to flick this ball past Caballero. Should the City keeper be doing more? Maybe he's got to present more of a barrier here to Sissoko. But again, it's such a clever finish. He doesn't panic, he flicks it over the keeper. Just has a little look at what the keeper's doing and then decides how to finish it. That is a quite brilliant goal.
Sheer delight for Newcastle United. Success that is as unlikely as it is well-deserved for them here thus far at the Etihad. City now need to find 2 goals in quarter of an hour, or they are heading out of the Capital One Cup.
Well, you've got to give Sissoko a huge amount of credit. It's all down to his individual brilliance, but static defending from City at the back. A goalkeeper, Caballero, for me, not doing enough either.
Lovely ball hanging in there towards Jesus Navas. The Newcastle fans getting their hands on the Poznan.
He must be a very, very proud man. He's conducted himself with real dignity. He's been under severe pressure, but his team have really responded. He's asked a lot of his team. He's chopped and changed. He's given the opportunity, young players, a chance tonight. And this side have really responded, but Manuel Pellegrini would not have thought this was going to happen. And he saw that Newcastle team sheet. He probably felt the job could really be done in the first hour of the game. It's just not worked out like that.
Well, this is why we have a break in play. It's a head injury. Every care and attention being taken.
It's Rami Obi who's come all the way back to help out. Does he catch Hadara? It's the 2 Newcastle players who actually collide, and the referee can't take any chance. He's got to make sure that Hadara is okay to continue. Of course, Newcastle have made all their substitutions as well.
And this is a very significant assessment that they've got to make here. Haidara with a blow to the jaw, it looks like. He's in some discomfort. You know all about the new rules with regard to head injuries. Well, this time a week ago, who would have foreseen this situation? Back-to-back Premier League wins and the first ever win at the Etihad. They're not there yet, of course, Newcastle United, but given the way that City have played for the opening 79 minutes, you do struggle to see how they're going to get their way back into this.
Look at the results from the Capital One Cup. Derby's win at Fulham was impressive, 5 goals to 2. Sheffield United scored late goals to win at MK Dons, but if Newcastle hold on here and win this game, no one would have expected them to win this game. This will be the major result of the round.
Taylor, well, Caballero, unconvincing. It was an awkward one, bouncing just ahead of him. He nearly presented it to Riviere. Aguero. Fernandinho. Aguero may have been caught late. He spotted it, Stuart Atwell. Advantage play. Kolarov can't take it. Now James Milner. Deflected away from immediate danger, but into the path of Sergio Aguero. A slip by Sanya. But here is Jesus Navas, who goes low, out by Sissoko, in by Fernandinho. It struck Sergio Aguero. Now Milner. Somehow it eludes all the blue shirts inside the box and goes away for a throw on the far side.
Well, Newcastle are riding their luck, just a real lack of quality. Poor ball in from Navas. And it's thundered back in, and Aguero actually stops the ball heading towards the goal. It's whipped in by Milner, but once again, far too much pace on the cross. Doesn't give Jovetic a chance of getting on the end of it, and Dummett does really well to get out of the way there.
Fernandinho taken away from him. Here's Moussa Sissoko. Newcastle all evening have looked menacing on the counter-attack. And on cue, there's a surge of adrenaline through the score of the second goal. Moussa Sissoko plays it straight out of play.
Look at the Newcastle possible heroes tonight. Sissoko, of course, and Aarons as well with the goals. But for me, Dummett and Colaccini is a central defensive pairing. have been absolutely brilliant. Just hope it's not the kiss of death for them.
Overtime. Villiers makes the run to open up a bit of space for him. Overtime plays it behind Colback. Brave header in by Dummett. He knew that the boot of Aguero was there and he risked catching one. And Stuart Atwell feeling that the boot of the Argentinian was a little too high.
Dummett's been fantastic tonight when the opportunity's been there to do some proper defending, put your body in the way, stick your head in. He's done absolutely the right thing and made sure he's been first to the ball virtually every time.
Newcastle have the man down. Sammy Amiobi.
Just one little City player actually catches Amiobi's back here as he goes flying into the challenge against Sagna. A little bit naughty from Sagna. I feel he knows exactly what he's doing there, the City fullback. Just needs a bit on Amiobi. He can apologise all he likes, Sagna, but he knows exactly what he's doing as he treads on him there.
So a chance to remind you what's up and coming this weekend. Small matter of the Manchester derby, City against United. City who will go in on the back of back-to-back defeats unless they can turn this around. 12:30 Sky Sports 1. And the second part of Super Sunday comes from Villa Park, struggling themselves against Tottenham. 3:30 Sky Sports 1. Fernandinho, Jovetic brought it down beautifully. Maybe in so doing took it out of the path of Dzeko. Milner. Now City showing signs of urgency, but is it too little too late? Jovetic, Sissoko tidying up.
Well, that's what Sissoko is more in the team to do, just break up those City attacks. He's very, very competitive.
Aguero finding space, but lacking the control that he usually displays. Milner stretching into the challenge. He'll pick up a yellow card for that. Stuart Atwell didn't like it. Manuel Pellegrini, who up till today had won all 7 of his Capital One Cup games in charge of Manchester City. They've only ever conceded 2 goals, where they've conceded 2 on the night here.
Well, having the ball is only half the story. City dominating possession, but simply haven't done enough with it. Newcastle had a lot less of the ball, but the best opportunities in the game have gone their way.
Abe. Now goes Amiobi. Mangala. Jovetic. Aguero. Support from Jesus Navas. Came back off Jovetic. Dzeko! What a block that was by Taylor.
Well, this is astonishing from Ryan Taylor. If he manages to keep his arms out of the way, he saved pretty much a certain goal there. Brilliant defending.
In by Milner, thought about coming, Elliott. Dummett got his head to it. Now Gabriel Obertan. Sissoko surging forward again alongside him. Obertan has kept it in. Thudded it forward here for Sissoko to chase. Has Riviere in the middle and Sammy Amiobi. Obertan. Well, there was a tired touch from Obertan, who's given absolutely everything tonight. Into the last 5 minutes of the 90. Jovetic, Milner. Something needs to happen for City soon. Jovetic, Jesus Navas is wide.
Well, City have had 2 golden opportunities to get back into the game. First Dzeko, and now Navas. The game is getting stretched. Newcastle are getting very, very tired. Wonderful ball from Jovetic. Well, from this type of position, Navas, even though he's under pressure, he has to hit the target. This is quite brilliant defending from Ryan Taylor. Been out for such a long time. The defensive instincts kick in, gets back on the goal line, and the important thing is he keeps his arms out of the way. Dzeko really shouldn't give him the opportunity to keep this out. He should be burying it, but brilliant defending from Taylor.
Typifying the Newcastle United effort here tonight. Riviere taking it away from Mangala. Here's Fernandinho. Aguero. Haidara away. Kolarov. Dzeko, not flagged for offside. Milner, blocked by Colaccini this time. Looks like Ryan Taylor has a little bit of cramp coming in, not surprising.
Well, City are to rescue this. They need to really score from this set piece.
Milner goes near post. Elliott, good distance on the punch. Jovetic. Fernandinho. Milner. Obertan flicks it away. Now Sissoko. The French international nutmegs Milner. Obertan. Fernandinho and Riviere, and the Frenchman gets the free kick. He mustn't take the bait though, just thought better of it.
That's really good centre forward play from Riviere. Just get hold of the ball, don't try and be too clever. Just relieve some of the pressure that Newcastle are under. That's your job as a striker at times, just to take a challenge, take a free kick, and the team can move up the field.
Taylor up towards Amiobi, had a good run at it. Oh, he's kept it alive, inches away from Riviere. Out of nothing, Sammy Amiobi carved out what was a really good-looking opportunity.
Well, some of City's defending tonight, Sagna and Caballero, it's been really sloppy all over the place, and that's why Newcastle are in this position.
Oh, well into the last minute of the 90, but we're getting word there's going to be a significant number of minutes added on at the end. Sagna. Jovetic. Kolarov. Jovetic. Answers it wide.
He's not really that convincing, he's a long way out as well. Trying to just guide it into that bottom corner, but I'd like to say, but it's pretty much hit and hope now from City that really a much better side than that. Even Pellegrini, it looks as though he's struggling for answers here.
Well, after what happened at the weekend, this was always seen as the night that they could build some momentum ahead of two huge games. As it is, many of the Manchester City supporters have seen enough. They've seen comebacks here in the past, of course, but it's a while since they've seen their side look so toothless at home. Those 6 added minutes. Sammy Amiobi losing out to Fernandinho and just hacking him down. Be lucky to escape a yellow card for that.
He's taking one for the team here. Amiobi actually tries to be too clever, gives possession away. Fernandinho's breaking forward, just clips his heels, and Stuart will right to pull him back and book him for that.
Kolarov. Milner. Fernandinho. And what will be of concern as he looks back over the piece here tonight, assuming that it ends up like this, is that twice in the space of 4 or 5 days, his side have gifted opponents 2-goal leads. And combine that with the fact that they threw that one away in Moscow, these are all worrying signs. The lack of clean sheets, vital weeks ahead on all fronts.
And of course tonight, no Vincent Kompany, no Pablo Zabaleta. They're two of the mainstays of this City defence. But even with those players in the side, they have been giving goals away. It's been most unlikely. If you are to challenge in the Champions League, Premier League, in the Capital One Cup as well, you need to be solid at the back, and City haven't been solid at the back at all tonight.
And every side throughout a season has a moment where they have a blip, a wobble, a mini crisis, call it what you will. The early signs are there for City. And Overton, the former Manchester United man who's had such a strong night here, closes down. Sissoko. With the air upended. Sissoko just about keeping it in. Doing well to get a corner out of that as well. The City players aren't impressed.
Well, that really is a fabulous piece of work. His goal really probably killed the game off. He's sent on there to do a real defensive job, but he's burst into the City half. He's kept the ball, managed to flick it off. I think Fernandinho just to get this set piece and just run the clock down even more. Brilliant work.
I don't want to be presumptuous, but I think Newcastle United can start to look at back-to-back wins. And remember, they haven't won away since March before going to White Hart Lane. Sami Amiobi beaten to the punch by Caballero there.
I suppose with the Newcastle selection tonight, they had absolutely nothing to lose. They can go out and enjoy themselves, relax. And they played like a very relaxed, confident side. City played very nervously. They haven't played the tempo that they normally do play with, and that's why they've come unstuck.
Couple of nervous moments, that goal-like block from Ryan Taylor, but really you'd have expected more from the holders, from last season's double winners, League and League Cup, as they look to keep their hands on part of that double. It hasn't materialised for City. Tonight where perhaps more questions than answers have been thrown up. Aguero running into traffic, even he can't unlock the door this time. Milner. Well to get a shot away under severe congestion. Navas. The call from the keeper.
I just wonder whether this ball actually strikes Haidara as the cross comes in. Turns away very, very quickly. I'm not sure whether he's inside the penalty area or not. The ball is whipped in, hits his arm. Whether it's intentional, very difficult for the officials to get right. But his arm is out, away from the body. He just clips his forearm. He's outside the penalty area, so it's not a penalty. It would have been a free kick.
Aguero. Fernandinho. Flick by Jovetic. What really is required at this stage, and it's comfortably shepherded out by Haidara. They're nearly there now, Newcastle United. Rapidly emptying Etihad, all bar that section of 3,000 travellers from the northeast, who are about to celebrate what has never happened before in their club's history, an Etihad Stadium win. Newcastle have come to the home of the holders and dumped them out of the Capital One Cup. What a night for Newcastle and Alan Pardew, who started with 2 teenagers up front for his side. One of them popped up with the first goal, and then one of his substitutes, Musa Sissoko, delivered a superb second to take it away from Manchester City. It's all smiles from Newcastle United. How quickly things can turn around from them. And as far as Manchester City are concerned, well, their season takes another worrying lurch for the worst. They threw away a lead in Moscow last week. They gave a 2-goal lead to West Ham, which they couldn't repair in the Premier League on Saturday. And now their grip on the League Cup is over here. And the most worrying thing from their point of view, Andy, is that it's deserved by Newcastle United.
Absolutely. OK, the holders are out, but City were poor. But let's focus on Newcastle. Their appetite for the game was simply sensational. Not overawed at all about playing at the Etihad. Brilliantly organised. And when the chances came along, they took them. They thoroughly deserved to win tonight.
Well, it is the first time in League Cup history that Newcastle have beaten Manchester City. The black and white band of brothers delivering here in the east of Manchester. We can get some reaction. A couple of the Newcastle heroes are with David Crane.
Rob, Ryan, many congratulations. Ryan, is that the stuff of fairy tales tonight?
It was, you know, we came here on the back of 2 good wins, and, you know, for myself personally, that was a fairy tale. A dream, everything, it all came true tonight. You know, it's 2 years of hard graft for myself just to get back playing football is a dream for me, but, you know, what a performance that was from the lads.
Rob, what does this tell us about Newcastle United at the minute? Where has this newfound confidence come from?
I think he was always there, he was just getting the results, and now we've got the results, you can see the difference in the team. But I think tonight's about Ryan. I think he's epitomised everything about us today. 2 years of solid hard work, a lot of setbacks, and it just proves what we're like. He shows our character today, and I think everyone's just buzzing for him and the fans and the club. It's a great night for us all.
Ryan, before we let you go and celebrate, how are the legs? I mean, 2 years is a long time.
I think they're still in the dressing room from half-time, but no, I mean, it's worth it. I mean, all them times on my own in the gym, you know, there till 4 o'clock, from 7 o'clock in the morning, it's all worth it when you see a performance like that. And just to actually get me pads back on, my boots, it's a dream come true.
Just finally, both of you, who do you want the next round?
I think after that performance we'll take anyone, you know, a lot of confidence going in, and hopefully get us on a cup run.
Yeah, home time be nice. Home, yeah. We've got 3 aways, home time be nice.
Boys, go in and celebrate. Well done.
Boys, we'll try to do our best because the 5th round draw is coming up very shortly here at the Etihad Stadium. A great story for Ryan Taylor. As you heard there, 2 years out, August 2012. He last played a 2-year period of nightmare knee problems, but back tonight in a key clearance on the 84-minute mark from Edin Dzeko. A chance that Dzeko should have scored, but it was a brilliant clearance from him on what has been a brilliant night for Newcastle United. They are through to the quarter-finals for only the 2nd time in the last 13 seasons. And for Elliott and the boys, it is a reverse of what happened against Manchester City at this stage last season at St James's Park when they went out by 2-0. Tonight, they have put the holders out by the same scoreline. And of course, City went on to win it. Can Newcastle do the same? Still a while to go before we can talk about that, but crucially they're finals. And the Newcastle fans who've come here tonight are going to go home very happy, particularly that young chap there who's got the shirt, and he is loving his moments. And so too are Newcastle, and deservedly so. Excellent from start to finish tonight. They were holding on at times, but they've done it. And he's got it on already. Super stuff. No, it's gone up the jumper. He doesn't want that grabbed off him as he exits the Etihad a little bit later. My advice, Sunshine, don't tell anybody. Well, the only problem is you've just been on telly in front of many viewers. So, what a different complexion tonight then throws on Manchester City's next game, because it is the small matter of the 168th Manchester derby here at the Etihad Stadium. The first part of Super Sunday. We're underway from 12:30, Sky Sports 1. It's followed by events at Villa Park. Aston Villa looking to avoid a 6 straight Premier League defeats and at last find the goal. They're up against Tottenham from 3:30 against Sky Sports 1. And we ran off the weekend's Premier League action with the Monday Night Football from Selhurst Park. Crystal Palace against Sunderland from 7 p.m. against Sky Sports 1. And in a slight change of gear, but important nonetheless. Arrow returns for a brand new series tomorrow night, 8 o'clock. And by the way, if you missed the start of Sky One's brand new superhero drama, The Flash, one of Stuart Pearce's favourites, you can catch up with the first episode on demand right now.
Fullback's header by Rolando Aarons. And he has pace and could be in here. Aarons up with Mangala! Aarons! Well, how about that? Here's Sissoko. Driving into the box here, Sissoko!
And in a complete reverse of this tie last year, it is Newcastle United who head through to the quarter-final draw in a few minutes' time. The holders are out. They led attempts 14-7, 4 on target each, but Newcastle have scoring 2 of theirs. And Manchester City, as they so often do here at the Etihad, dominating possession, but tonight to no avail. And let's tell you who is through to the quarter-final draw. Southampton through. They were 2-0 up through Pella and Shane Long. But Stoke came back through Nzonzi and Diouf. But then Crouch had a very short part to play. Came on as a substitute, lasted 40 minutes. Picked up 2 yellow cards, was sent off. And then Pella got his second of the night to give Southampton a 3-2 win. They're through to their first quarter-final in 11 years. And Tottenham, the 4 times winners, 2-0 winners against Brighton. Eric Lamela with the goal and Harry Kane on 74 minutes seeing Tottenham through to the next round. They, by the way, made 10 changes tonight in what proved to be a delayed kickoff. So this then is how the numbers are looking ahead of the draw for the quarterfinals, the 5th round of this year's Capital One Cup. Number 1, AFC Bournemouth, quite brilliant last night against West Bromwich Albion. They're into the quarter-final draw for the first ever time. Chelsea, 2 times winners in the last 10 years, squeezed through against Shrewsbury Town in our live game last night by 2-1. They are Cube number 2. Cube number 3, Derby County, brilliant win against Fulham last night. They were 2-0 down and then scored 5 unanswered goals. Liverpool, the 8 times winners, 2-1 winners against Swansea, the 2013 winners last night. They are Cube number 4. Sheffield United, Cube number 5. They're the only League One side left in the competition. Newcastle United, after their win here, are number 6. Number 7, Southampton, after their win against Stoke. And Tottenham Hotspur are number 8. Stuart Pearce is drawing the home teams. Niall drawing the away teams. Gentlemen, if I can ask, first of all, Niall, just give them a quick stir.
Sure will.
And Stuart, first, home team, please.
Number 3.
Number 3, Derby County get a home tie at the iPro Stadium after their win against Fulham. And they will play...
Number 2.
Number 2, Chelsea. What a tie that will be. Derby County against Chelsea at the iPro Stadium. Next home team then, please, Stuart.
Number 8.
Number 8, Tottenham Hotspur, the 4 times winners and winners against Brighton and Hove Albion tonight. And they will play at White Hart Lane. They get another home draw.
Number 6.
Number 6, which is Newcastle United. So Newcastle United's prize for winning here tonight is an away trip to Tottenham in the quarter-finals. Right, the third tie of 4 then, Stuart. The home team will be...
Number 1.
Number 1, AFC Bournemouth. 2-1 winners against West Brom last night. Eddie Howe's side going absolutely brilliantly. They get a home tie, but it will be against...
Number 4.
Number 4, the 8 times winners Liverpool are heading to play Eddie Howe's Bournemouth. What a tie that is going to be. And rounding things off, the last home tie is Stuart Pearce.
Number 5.
Number 5, Sheffield United, the final remaining League One side left in the competition. They'll be at Bramall Lane, and they will, of course, be against...
Number 7.
At number 7, which is Southampton, who are through to the quarter-finals for the first time in 11 years. Right, let's run you through then the draw for the quarter-finals of this year's Capital One Cup. Gentlemen, thanks very much. Excellent drawing, by the way. And here we go then. Derby County get a home tie against Jose Mourinho's Chelsea. Newcastle United, who of course beat Tottenham last weekend at White Hart Lane, will go back there in their quarter-final after their win here at the Etihad tonight. And Tottenham's win against Brighton and Hove Albion. Bournemouth take on Liverpool. Sheffield United against Southampton. Stuart, which tie? There's quite a number there. Stands out particularly for you.
Well, I've got to apologise for everyone in the East Midlands for picking Derby at home, but as luck happens, Niall's got me out of trouble and given them Chelsea, which is nice.
Well done.
I wanted, obviously, Nigel Clough, with my connections with him, to get a home tie, and obviously Sheffield. I think Bournemouth-Liverpool will be the exciting one there for me. You know, Bournemouth are doing so well. We played down there. We managed to beat them, but they really played well against us on the night, and that'll be a great game.
And I tell you what, Niall, Bournemouth will fancy their chances, won't they?
Yeah, they're playing with so much confidence, and I think what's romantic about that draw is the three non-Premier League teams are all at home, so there could be more shocks in store. And Bournemouth, yeah, they stand out, don't they? That's a fantastic game for them. And Liverpool will probably there'll be a groan or two around Liverpool when they were drawn away to Bournemouth. It's going to be a tough one.
At Derby against Chelsea as well is a mouth-watering tie, because both flying in their respective divisions.
For sure, yeah. I think Derby County are looking really strong in their league. They scored 5 goals in less than 30 minutes last night against Fulham. They have a confidence in there that's grown. Their manager is a class act, as we know, over the years, and he'll relish this game. This puts him on the big stage with Jose, and a lot of talk will be going on before that game. You know, Steve McLaren will be, you know, I suppose he'll feel he's ready for the Premier League again, and this will be a good night for him to take on Jose.